Hello everyone, and welcome back to Can You Put Me on Guest List. Today, my guest is Sarah Polonsky. She's an encyclopedia of music who has traveled the world, bringing awareness to brands through various mediums across multicultural landscapes. The former North America editor and representative for the 25 years running global voice of dance music, DJ Mag, successfully brought the brand into the American market, where it thrived with her at its helm. Sarah also single-handedly integrated dance music into the legendary hip-hop publication Vibe magazine. Previously, she saw electronic music magazine Electro come to fruition as the title's first managing editor. Sarah was also the senior editor of leading women's online magazine BettyConfidential.com and produced nationally syndicated radio segments as well as web content for the brand. Sarah was also a reporter at page 6 of the New York Post, the National Enquirer, and Black Book magazine.
I've interviewed a lot of people, but Deadmau5 is my favorite. If you ever get a chance, it's in Vibe. It was a cover story. He has no filter, so he is the opposite of the boring. I mean, I actually ran it as a Q&A, which I usually find those quite pedestrian and boring. But when someone is going back and forth with you and just talking shit about everyone.
In this episode, we talk about how she started off in the dance music industry, being an editor at DJ Mag US, highlights of her career, future projects, and much more. I really loved recording this podcast with Sarah. She was just so lovely and absolutely hilarious. So it was a lot of fun. And just like Lydia Laws' podcast a couple of weeks ago, we also recorded this outside in the nature in Ibiza, which is why you can hear a few animals and a few birds tweeting, but it was great fun. So I hope you enjoy this. This is Sarah Polonsky on Can You Put Me on Guest List. Sarah, hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm very well. It's so nice to finally meet you.
Oh, you too, babes.
I've heard so much about you from different people.
Only half of it's true.
So it's really nice to be able to come over to your house today and see you.
Yeah,
and
we're
have a chat.
sitting in a villa poolside. Yes.
What a beautiful day.
Well, you know, being an editor, it pays the big bucks.
How have you been? How are you?
I'm good. We've come out to Ibiza to it's opening parties. We've got DC10 tonight, Circle Loca, it's IMS, obviously, or IMMS as some like to call it.
I love that.
I tend to work hard on the color mainly, and that was me bashing the headphone. And yeah, stay here through the end of the month too.
Because, you're staying here all month.
Well, my husband actually manages Claptone, so when you land in the airport, you know those giant masks.
Yes,
that's his visionary marketing plan. So we'll be here for the opening of that.
Lovely.
And so, but yeah, back and forth to London and Ibiza all summer long.
Lovely. So just to start off, what was your earliest memory of dance music?
It's funny because I can't remember most of it, but I do remember my first nightclub experience.
Oh, really? When was that?
It's almost like losing your virginity.
Yeah.
I can't remember all the ones in between, but the first.
The first one we'll always remember.
It was Danny Tenaglia, Be Yourself Fridays in New York, which is a legendary party indeed. But what's funny is 'cause I don't know what we called it. I'm sure everybody says this. Like I wasn't like, oh, dance music. But I do remember I was 15. And actually, there was a night before that in a leather dress, but we won't go there. We'll talk about the real dance music. And I think before I even realized what was happening on the decks, and I was just looking at all these people and their costumes and meeting all these people.
Yeah.
And it was so fun. And maybe that's why I actually became a journalist, because I love meeting people, and and the music unites all kinds of people, and that was happening. And then once I actually heard the music, and stopped, I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then I discovered, like, oddly, for a New York Jewish girl, there's not a lot of electronic music info, but drum and bass especially.
Yeah.
And the bartender at Vinyl was a drum and bass DJ, and so we started going crazy anytime Ronnie Size or Goldie was in town. So it was like fate that I was meant to move to Europe. And
what came first, though, your love of journalism or music?
well, music has always been there, but I would never think to parlay music into a career because well, first of all, sometimes it's the quickest way to ruin your love of music. But no, because I was a writer. Before EDM happened, we'll say.
Yeah.
I was a journalist for years, and I worked at Page Six, like the New York Society gossip column. I was a food critic, which was great for the food, obviously.
Yes, love
the
that.
fashion. I'd worked at a lot of magazines and newspapers in New York before covering music. But then it became music for 10,
until
a
now.
long time.
So how did it start? What was your first job in music?
So I wrote an article for a magazine called Black Book about Electric Zoo, and because I was just covering like cool events and things.
Yeah.
And I had met their the Made Events PR team, and they were like, and we were just talking about music, not even knowing who the other one was, like that I was being pitched, but they didn't know they were pitching me yet. Yeah. And they were like, I was like, oh, I miss raves. I used to go to Limelight, and I used to go to Vinyl, and I used to go to Sound Factory, and like I was a teenager, but I was there at the tail end of New York heyday, Peter Gatien era, and I was like, but it's over now. It's all bottle service and this and that. And he's like, no, it's not. There's Electric Zoo. And I was like, what's that? And then he was like, well, you need to cover this. And I was like, okay, great. So a publisher saw that, and they had actually been looking for someone to launch a magazine called Electro, and they could not find anyone who had the maturity and age to not just go get S-faced every night, and who had editorial experience. So it was the publishing house that did niche like XXL and like niche music magazines. And so they were like, we need someone to launch Electro. It covers EDM. And I'm literally like Googling EDM, like, what is this? I'm like, oh, I know all about this. So I launched that, and that's how I got in. It was just into it. And then I never stopped 10 years later. So created that whole thing from scratch. And then Vibe magazine came calling.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my goodness. Quincy Jones founded that. Biggie and Tupac fight, their death may have been caused by it. It wasn't. It was Suge Knight. But so I was literally the only white girl ever to work there. And they were like, they called me the Uns girl. But they wanted me to integrate dance music because it had gotten so big.
So you were the one that introduced it into the magazine.
Yeah. So and that's quite difficult. And luckily I'm a huge hip hop head. I mean, I fancy myself a music encyclopedia, but these days it's harder because it's more than ever, right?
Yeah.
But usually I'm like, oh wait, that was sampled in this year, and then I think it was used on a show, and then it was turned into. So usually that's me in any kind of music. At Vibe, you change it, like expanding a demographic is one thing, but taking people staunch hip hop and R&B fans and being like, listen to, uns, as they call it, music.
Yeah.
You have to be it takes a lot of finesse. You have to be very careful. So what I started to do was I was like, we need to start with the David Guettas and the Diplos who are already, well, David Guetta, he started it in a way because he, worked with Sia and Usher, and he always wanted to do house music combined with hip hop and R&B. That's his thing. That's what he wanted to do, and he made it happen after 20 years of DJing. So I kind of explained that, and I would do online stories about 10 hip hop songs that should be turned into this or that.
Oh, great
and
idea.
Then it was, but now everybody does.
Yeah.
And then if an album was coming out, we just find ways to integrate it that way about, or people that should remix this or why, and then just introducing that, and it worked.
And what happened after that? Then where did you go to?
So then, then the magazine crashes were happening. I mean, it did have a website, but about half of the staff there got laid off. And then, so as it does. But then I got to what happened then? Hold on. So even before, so everyone got laid off at once, like almost everybody. And then they called me, and then I went and talked to the owner of DJ Mag, and they had been trying to launch DJ Mag in North America for about 8 years unsuccessfully.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, well, I'm your girl. Let's do it.
What year is this that we're talking about right now?
So this would have been 2013.
Okay.
And yes. so we had a couple of Skype calls, and I was like, absolutely, let's get this going. And we'll start it quarterly, and we'll but we'll drop it all online, and we'll we'll repurpose some of the content from the UK because it's the same language. We'll just swap out some Z's and S's and take out the user flavor. It started off like slowly, but then actually, so at that time, then Vibe called me back, and they were like, oh, well, you created this entire 7-Up marketing campaign, which I did when 7-Up wanted to become synonymous with dance music. And I had launched the entire campaign, and they needed someone to carry it out. So I was like, yeah, I can do that too.
Oh, so you did them both at the same time?
I was doing them both at the same time. That was like that's just part of that hustle moment of life where you're like 18 hours.
Do everything.
And then you've got to go out at night as well. And it's like, and
3 hours sleep.
Yeah. And you're just like, oh, and then you actually don't know what to do with yourself when you have nothing to do for a minute.
No, I know.
It was before the binge series, real hardcore, what did I do? Just worked. All within about 2 years tops, there was the desire for DJ Mag North America was full, and we went monthly.
Wow.
And so then the Vibe stuff was over, and I moved to England because I met my now husband, and we had met at Miami Music Week, naturally, and it was meant to be a meeting, which turned into a marriage.
Wow,
it can
beautiful.
happen, right there on the spot. But because DJ Mag's head office is in the UK, and I felt the only way to really grow it was to go and do it from the inside out. Because business is done very differently from country to country.
Of course.
And North America is huge. Cock-a-doodle-doo to
I
you,
know.
Right? There's no sleep for the wicked in Ibiza. The roosters. So I was like, I didn't even tell them I was moving. I mean, I was just like, let's go. So I showed up, and they're like, how long are you staying? I was like, we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, but it was the only way to be in their faces. Like, here's what we need to do. And then, like, as there's a Best of British, I created a Best of North America.
Amazing.
Acronym, the BONAs. So is that like a bona in your pocket? But to do that, you can't just have one party like you do in England. America and Canada, it's huge. Like from Detroit, to do a party in Chicago, to Detroit, to New York, to Miami, and to Vegas, and it's so massive. It's such a big region, so it's just a lot more.
So did you have to create a whole new team?
So I created the team, and so there was a designer in Texas, my deputy editor in Miami, sub-editor in LA, editor at large in New York, writers everywhere. Editorial meetings were like, if in the Google Calendar, I'd be like, oh my God, I reread it like 70 times. You know what I mean? Because it's like PTSD.
Yeah,
I didn't mean I got it from that. It's like PST, CET, GMT, EST. Okay, is that everybody?
Yeah.
There'd be like one person on like MST. I'd be like, oh, crap. Home of house music is MS. Is Mountain Standard Time. House music. Chicago.
So how long were you at DJ Mag for?
5 years.
Wow.
5 years. That was so every month at that helm, making that magazine from across the world. That's the best part. Is being in the digital era, being able to just go to everything and see the world.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's, and that's actually started at Vibe, but, and then, it's funny is because, traveling and seeing the world and getting to interview people along the way, and, but every year, it's so amazing. And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't want to do it. I'm tired. Yeah. So then all the reporters I hire, I'm like, do you want to take this trip to Croatia? Yeah. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, I'm just going to edit your copy from my bed. Sometimes then, like, if you have to pack for 4 seasons as a woman,
it's very difficult.
This is white girl problems. You know what I mean?
It's difficult. It is. It's really hard.
I'm sure some of the fancy DJ males out there agree.
Yeah.
70 pairs of trainers that you can't even see in the box.
So where are you at now? What's happening now?
Well, I'm here in Ibiza. I
Well,
don't want to
yeah.
think. I don't want to be thinking, but I am for you, Katie.
Thank you. Sorry. I'll get over it
so-
really quick.
So here's some of the beauties of some of the conferences in dance music, such as IMS. Hi, Ben. But I had spoke on a panel last year in Medellin in Colombia at a place called Selina, which is catered to the digital nomad, which is a very great term for people of today, like travelers, peripatetics, where they're based where the Wi-Fi is. That's what I like to say. When people are like, "Where
Love
are you
that.
based?" I'm like, "Wherever there's Wi-Fi." But I am technically London. But so I went and spoke on this panel, and I loved it. And it was basically a music summit. And I discovered that this place, Selina, has 46 properties so far. And you can stay for $19 a night in like a hostel situation, or you can spend more and get a beautiful suite. And they're everywhere, and they're stunning. And it really
All over the world.
all over. Well, mainly in Latin America now, but now they're Portugal, Mexico, Ecuador, Guatemala, and they're like just. I mean, honestly, if you go on to Selina.com, it's like, oh my. And then there's a list of all the places opening. And it's just like, how are they doing this? But they're brilliant. And they've got music studios they're building.
Oh, wow.
And they've got the wellness programs, culinary programs. And it's like, I like to describe it as a kibbutz meets the Soho House. Literally. Because it's like a good do-it-yourself and meet and network. But it's also just, you don't have to be a member of the club, but it's still posh and lovely and very cool. So I did this conference, and then at this year's ADE at Amsterdam Dance Event, literally walking down the street, I ran to the CEO of Selina, and it turns out that his head office is down the block from where I live in London.
Oh, wow.
So I was just like, we need to have lunch. I had lunch back in London, and I was like, he was like, I want a magazine, like a Selina magazine, going out to every single location, because content is king, and in print and digital. And I was like, well, I want to make that magazine. So it's quite an undertaking, and it's taken months to pull together. But once it's meant to come out in July, we're a month away. I keep pushing them. I'm like, can we do it in August? Because basically, the way it works out is there's 17,000 beds booked daily. If one person shares on social media, as you do when you're traveling, this is like bare roots minimum. If one person shares a day, it works out to something like 53 billion social media impressions a year, just on the beds booked.
Wow.
So for any brand, get my contact details later. No, but literally, if any brand that's gets in now, and the beginning stages, your visibility is going to skyrocket.
That's huge.
It's just huge. And then, of course, it's not only a magazine. If you're a cocktail brand, we can cater the bar. If it's a yoga pant, like we do all these amazing curated. The team is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a wellness director. They've got somebody from Redville Music Studios heading up. It's like thousands of people. It started with like 96, and in the last year, I think it went up to like 1,500 employees globally.
Wow.
So,
I bet it's interesting for you as well, because it's not all just music. You've got all different things that you can feature inside the magazine, right?
And that's refreshing, because honestly, I love music, but it will be, who doesn't want to write about a bit of fashion and sample the fairs and go to the spas and the local.
Try it all out.
The global meets local is great too, because I'm not, even though I say I'm sick of traveling, I'm never really. It's all like I go to Costa Rica and surf and then write about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm putting together a team for that.
So that's what you're working on
next
right
day.
now.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on now. But in the media, it's like you never stay anywhere. Like for me to stay at DJ Mag 5 years, that was so long.
Yeah.
Which is, I would love to stay somewhere for longer, but it doesn't work like that in the media.
Definitely.
So, but we'll see how long this one lasts. Maybe forever.
Yes, you never know.
Till I'm too old to be a digital nomad? Never.
For the people that don't know, what does an editor's job consist of?
I guess it depends what kind of an editor, but in music, making sure that you get the team is very important. But it's okay. It's commission. At its bare bones, it's commissioning articles, getting people to pitch you great story ideas, making sure every single word is properly I'm a better writer than I am speaker, clearly. Editing all the words, putting together the photo shoots, traveling the world, and is that it? Seems like, but also you become the point person for everything. Because if we're doing a party for a magazine, well, we want to make sure the people on the lineup are featured, because everything, and you have to stay ahead of the game of what's current at the moment at all times, and be ahead of them. So because when it comes out, especially if the album's coming out next month, well, you need it featured this month. So it's just making sure you're completely on top of it. And like anything, you figure out how to manage it with experience. You don't ever know what you're doing when you start. Fake it till you make it.
Yeah. What do you think is the best part of the job?
Oh gosh, what do I want to say? Something. Well, definitely. Oh God, there's so many things. I mean, there's lots of free swag. It's just great. Love freebies. I think I have more headphones than half the DJs out here. I've got them with my initials. I've got them with every magazine I've ever worked at. I'm like, hold on, what have I not? I've got Sarah P. HBIC. I'm running out of things. But also just getting to travel the world and meet people, and because every time you travel, you change a little bit, and just seeing different cultures in a way that not a lot of people get to see, and then to meet people that everyone wants to meet, your heroes, because it's not just been DJs, it's been all across the musical spectrum, and like sometimes once you get to a certain point, you can pick and choose. Like I'm the only. Well, maybe I'll just let you ask whatever's asking next, because it might lead into your next question.
Go ahead, carry on.
I think like when you get to interview Daft Punk and Pharrell alone in a room, which is, for me, that was like, this is happening. I made this happen, and I'm sitting there, and I don't want to pull this card, but as a woman, it's true, and like, it's always some bloke in there talking to them, and you walk in sometimes, and they're like, wait, you're the person? I'm like, yeah, you're about to, bitch. I'm about to steal you. So, that is just incredible. Yeah. Just to be I'm sitting in a room with Pharrell and Daft Punk alone.
Right now.
It's just the four of us chilling, having a conversation. Like, no one gets to do that. Actually, after I did that, the BBC called me from France, and they were like, you're the only American journalist that's ever done this. Can we come in? We fly you to France and interview you about it? Yeah. And I was like, yeah, oui. So,
what would you say is the hardest part?
Okay, so in interviewing people, you'll probably know this, people that are boring.
They just give yes and no answers.
When they're afraid to say the wrong thing, like, it's like, we're all human, we're all flawed. Nobody wants you to be a robot. Like, nobody wants that. Even if you dress like one.
It can be so difficult sometimes, can't it? You're like, just say something.
Right.
Please, give me something. Right. Like, I don't know where else to go right now with this.
And you're like giving them gold. Yeah. Like, if you have to care, it's just, and then like, especially if you then have to write it, it's like, like, okay, now I have to just editorialize this. And a lot of people are like that.
It's like sometimes when a camera's turned on, or somebody gets a microphone in front of them, they just completely change. Like, before any of that, we'll have a normal conversation, everything will be fine. Right. I'm like, yes, this is going to be a great interview. And then I'm like, give me a mic.
I'm gonna turn it on now. This is your moment. Yeah. But people get stage fright, so I find alcohol helps them.
Yeah, definitely.
I've used it a few times.
Yeah, just have a couple of shots.
Even for photo shoots, you'd be surprised some of the artists that are actually so shy, because their personas are not that.
Yeah,
and then I'm like, all right, get them the vodka.
Even with photo shoots, have you done that before as well? Really?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I remember. I don't know. Should I name names?
You can name names, of course.
I just remember this one that sticks out in the early days, because it was Dylan Francis, and he's so funny with all his videos. And we decided we would do a photo shoot with like beautiful models in New York City. And he was so nervous. So I was like, ladies, I'm like, just keep feeding him drinks and feeding him. We got him loosened up, because he was just so panicked.
Oh, you would think though sometimes these like massive names that they wouldn't be like that.
We're talking Hansel,
Yeah.
Litek, Deep House, the
Yeah.
lover, and then all of a sudden I'm like, booze them up.
Give him another one.
Or another thing I'll do, actually, so you were speaking with my friend Lydia Laws.
Yes.
And she has Sasha as a client. So we were doing a cover store shoot at my penthouse in London with beautiful views. And he does not want to smile. I'm like, Sasha, you're playing tonight to 5,000 people, and every single woman in the crowd is going to want to sleep with you. How does that feel? And then I go, shoot. He's laughing. So sometimes you just need to like, make them laugh.
Make them laugh, yeah.
So you have to be half comedian. Or you can use what your mama gave you.
Yes.
Stare at the cleavage. Okay, but you know what? It's not sexist if you're getting, you gotta use whatever you have.
100%. What would be a story or stories that you've really, really enjoyed covering that really stick out?
Dead Mouse.
Ooh.
He is, I've interviewed a lot of people, but Dead Mouse is my favorite. If you ever get a chance, it's in Vibe. It was a cover story. He has no filter, so he is the opposite of the boring. I mean, I actually ran it as a Q&A, which I usually find those quite pedestrian and boring. But when someone is going back and forth with you and just talking shit about everyone, that was not even what I was after, but he was giving me gold.
You were like, okay.
Like, the first question I said to him, I asked, it wasn't a question, I didn't finish the sentence. I said, this is your first time speaking with Vibe. He goes, yes, let's talk about fucking hoes, bitches, blingin', Cristal. And I was just like, or Cypress Hill's inclusion on your album. And he's like, oh, is that what did it? I knew it had to be fucking something. I'm like, what? And it was just, he's like brilliant, but he doesn't care. He's just no fucks given.
No filter.
So, no filter. That's a nicer way to put it. So then in the tagline, I'm like, we called him the F-bomber. Because it's just like, I've never had to edit out the word. I mean, I don't know, on these podcasts, how much I can, now I'm the F-bomber.
You could say whatever you want on my podcast. I'm not beeping anything out.
Don't tell me that, because I'm much like Dead Mouse, just a bit nicer. No, but so that interview is my favorite.
When was that?
That was, I don't know, I'd have to Google it real quick. But get on the Google machine if you own one.
Right.
And it was probably in 2013-ish, all around then, towards the end of maybe 2012. For that long, that's the one that sticks out. Still.
I'm gonna look that up.
I've sat with Nile Rodgers. I ended up very close with, and like I've put him on the cover.
Oh wow!
And he had me book a whole festival for him, which was a talent I didn't know I had, but.
Oh,
you know what?
You booked the
I
whole
booked
festival.
his Fold
wow.
festival, Freak Out Let's Dance, and then the first one in New York. And he wanted me to do the DJ stage. Somehow I ended up stage managing the main stage with Duran, Shaka Khan, Pharrell. And I'm like, yo, Shaka, your set time's going back like 2 minutes. You're every woman, you know. Like, so, so he's great. And like, from Sven Vath on the cover. But again, pardon me. Ibiza flu is coming. For some reason, Dead Mouse to me is just. I like a challenging loud ass.
I'm gonna find the link and I'm gonna add it to this podcast so people can find it. You obviously must be pitched so many ideas. How do you choose what makes a magazine and what doesn't?
Dictating, blind dictatorship at this point. It's just it's sort of something that you have to. It's like it's not innate. Sometimes it's innate, but for me it's like an innate feeling because I just sort of seem to know, or maybe I know, and then people just follow. I don't know if people are sheep, but that's not what I'm trying to say. You are pitched a lot. Sometimes it is a bit of guesswork, but it's also about having a strong team because to filter through everything. And I really try to listen to everything. But I mean I do, but sometimes if it's just techno, for example, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. It's a lot of hand claps and snares. I need someone else to. So you have editorial meetings. That's very important, and get everyone's ideas. And then you've got, but really, I don't have one straight answer because it's there's so much content needed to fill a book, and you just have to keep up with what's current, and eventually it just becomes second nature. You just kind of know, and you planning. You've got to plan in advance. So publicists, send your stuff early.
Yeah,
you know, as early as you can. Because there's not a lot. I know everything today, lately, it's, oh, this is coming out tomorrow. Can you do something? And I'm like, first of all, in print, no,
obviously.
And if they make a mistake, sorry, we've already printed 20,000 copies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
how does it work with like DJ Mag? Because obviously there's like DJ Mag UK, DJ Mag US, and then there's DJ Mag Spain. I don't know where else there is, but is the content like the same in some of?
No, I mean sometimes somebody from one will ask the other if they can use a story and they'll translate it, but it's all different franchises. So there's like a main owner that has DJ Mag UK, Ibiza. There's a different person for Spain. Yeah. Because they're almost different territories.
Yeah.
In a way.
Oh, so Ibiza and Spain are two different ones. Oh.
Yeah. Well, because it's one's like a license, and one they wanted to keep in house, if you will.
Yeah.
So the way it works is, if someone wants to buy the license, they can buy the license, and then we've got guidelines for which you must adhere, but. Yeah. That's that. But I'm not there anymore, so it could have changed by now. I don't know. But I don't know. Like, I'm thinking now, Selina's in way more countries.
Yeah.
And all the languages, you know. I'm like, it's going to have to be printed in I think we'll stick with Spanish and English.
You're just going to do 2 languages?
I mean, in Portugal, I'm like, what do we do? I don't, you know what? We're figuring it out. We'll stay tuned to Selina.
We'll stay tuned.
And we'll see.
What advice would you give someone that would like to get into music journalism?
Don't bullshit a bullshitter. Honestly, you've got to graft.
Yeah.
Because I've had so many. I mean, you'll get a job if you're persistent, you know, and don't go to journalism school, because honestly, I did not, and that doesn't really teach you anything. I hate to say it, but it's true.
It's so true.
It really is.
It is so true. I literally did 1 year at uni, and I'm like, why am I like, what am I doing? I need to be working.
Yeah, if you're gonna be a doctor, go to school. But honestly, this day and age, it's like Woody Allen says, everything our parents thought was good for us is bad for us. Sun, smoking, college. But no, in truth, I would say, put together a resume. Look online. There's this place. There's LinkedIn. Find out who all of the editors are, and email them, and just be like, "I heard you're hiring," even if you haven't, because eventually someone will be, and get an internship or blog or whatever it is. You can take what you can get, and you'll stand out, because people that don't work hard these days, and we know, we've been there as editors, like. I have interviewed people on no sleep, running around a festival, sunglasses on, but I get it done. And like, there's no excuses. But if you let someone know, okay, I can't make this deadline in advance, that's great. But it's all about the graft, because we are looking for people like that. Yeah. Anyone you can depend on. Like, it's just don't be a lazy, self-entitled millennial. And you'll be great.
Yes, you'll be fine.
But also, if you don't get a reply right away, try again. Like, you can't.
Don't just give up.
You don't just give up. Like, but it's amazing how, if you actually just try and stop waiting to to fall into your lap, and if you just do the work and look, you can find everyone in an About Us, or on, even on Facebook. You can just do a bit of Googling. If you want to be a journalist, you know how to research. Yeah. When in my coming up, there was no Google even, really.
Yeah, so much
easier
now.
I had to go on stakeouts when I worked at the National Enquirer back in whatever year that was. But that's how I learned to be a journalist. Like, even though it's crazy news, like, going out there and making sure the comments were like correct, and dealing with lawyers and fact checking, and just like, you need to put the work in. That's really it.
Do you think the internet has made journalists a little bit lazier than before, because it's kind of all just there and done and written?
I don't know if it's maybe lazier is part of it, but it's stripped the integrity of journalism straight away. Yeah, it's become something different. Like, it's like, I guess on Wikipedia it says I'm a journalist. But, I mean, I always was, but I don't really consider myself that anymore. I'm a businesswoman now. Yeah. Because you have to be if you want to succeed eventually, and make a couple bucks eventually. But again, so what was the question?
I said to you, do you think now that the internet,
I think the internet is baffling at this point for being a journalist because you don't know where to trust your sources.
Yeah.
And I don't mean people sources, because that's what I used to work with. So someone would give me the tip. But again, it's like Wikipedia is not always right, but that's how the first thing you click on to find out about someone really quickly. And a lot of times, I speak from experience, it's not correct. But it is, obviously, we all do it, and you've got to do what you got to do. So I don't know if it's lazier. It's just taking away a bit of that luster off producing great content, because everyone's writing the same stuff over and over.
Yeah.
So if anything, I think it's made it harder to stand out, at least.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't really think of it that way. But yeah, you're right. What would you say has been the biggest highlight of your career so far?
Still waiting for it to happen, babes. I would definitely go back to that moment with the Daft Punk and Pharrell in a room. I'm like,
were you nervous?
No.
No, you were just like, I'm just gonna smash it.
Yeah, I literally was like this. Like, I don't usually get very nervous. I get nervous over dumb girl things. Like, I saw gray hair, but Daft Punk.
You're like, nah. I've got this.
That's where I shine. But that to me, I was like, I have arrived, even though I've done loads.
What an amazing
That was
moment.
the highlight, and also pulling off the Fold Festival with Nile. When Nile Rodgers is calling you, and you're like, I don't want to call him back because I don't want to do this. And it's like, oh my God, I don't want to call back Nile Rodgers because he wants me to book a festival for him.
Had you ever booked anything
before? No, but it turns out that if you're an editor, people really want to get in because there's not a lot of outlets but content's come back and everything's changing as it does. Everything is cyclical. Music, print, podcasts.
Yeah.
Those weren't a thing, but now they're the thing.
Yeah.
But I used the leverage. I'm like, look, we're going to do a content exchange, and that's not really proper journalism anymore. Like, you'd play the show, and we're going to pay you this much, but you also get an article. But that's just integrated marketing at this point. So, booking that and then just running around, I'm doing everything. I like to, turns out I like to get my hands dirty despite ruining my manicure. Like, driving the golf carts and just singing all and picking up one artist and having the headset on, that was great.
Yeah.
I like that because so much of the time I'm behind a computer typing away.
Yeah, it's nice just to be out there and
watching it all come to fruition. That's why a magazine also is so lovely, because you see your work. And it's just great to have that payoff in your hand instead of a blog that disappears into the stratosphere.
Yeah. I bet at the end of after preparing for a release of a magazine, when you first get that first copy in your hands, must be such
amazing.
A nice feeling.
I have every magazine. I literally have clippings from everything I try to. I've written for WeightWatchers.com because when you're a freelance journalist in New York back in the day, you need to hustle. And they, turns out, They paid then $600 for an article. Wow. So of course they made the articles about music. I'd be like, well, new playlists to listen to when working out. I'm like, I'm getting $600 for this. That didn't last long. It was a freelance thing. So I keep them all. I've got books and books, and my husband's like, every time we move, he's like, oh my gosh, can we throw something out? I'm like, no, this is my career.
Yeah,
you cannot throw anything out. Do we throw away your discs, Mr. Manager? No.
My boyfriend keeps every single wristband from any party, any of his gigs.
We've got a laminate tree, a Christmas tree. It's laminates hung up all over. Those are cool too. Again, it's that tangible. Yeah. But wristbands. He says he's going to make a piece of artwork out of it one day, which I thought was a lovely idea. Crafty.
Nobody copy this idea now. I'll get in trouble.
No, it's happened. It may have been done.
I'm pretty sure it definitely
been done.
Sarah, thank you so much for having a chat with me.
You.
It's been so nice, and it was so nice to meet you.
It was so nice to meet you too.
And I'm sure I'll see you over this week. IMS
might happen.
Somewhere we'll be together again. Thank you.
Cheers.